Next bit I'd like to talk about is experience. When it comes to experience, this is something you will definitely need. You can do all the training in the world, and as I mentioned, the training I've given you here, I believe, is comprehensive and exactly what you need to start a career in digital marketing. I have no doubt in that. And as I've always said, if you have any extra questions or need me to expand on anything, or if you believe I've missed something or you want to add something, ask the questions. I'll answer them either by video or even text in direct reply. But this is something you need is experience. So when it comes to gaining experience, I believe you have two options. So let's look at those two options. So from my experience, this is the single most option, as I mentioned at the start of your digital marketing career. You can get without experience, you will struggle in other aspects, whether you are looking to find a job or set up your own agency. So you need the experience. So let me share my experiences of how you can make it happen. One, you need a well, not in any particular order, actually. You do need a portfolio, basically evidence of what you've done. So whether you've done it for yourself, so if you've just thought, I'm going to start up my own business, I've got an interest in photography and I've got loads of other photos, right? I'm going to create a Facebook page, I'm going to create a Google page, I'm going to create this, do it. Once you've done it, put it on your LinkedIn and put it on your CV to say so create a company because it shows us, and then when it's got social media pages, it's got this, it tells the person you're applying for the job with that you've got experience in doing it. So as I said, even make up the company, it doesn't matter, but make sure you've done the work. Yeah, so that will give you and that's something you can add to your portfolio. Some people will just ask to see examples via WhatsApp. Others want a more formal proposal. So once again, depending on what experience you have, that's what you can send. I personally didn't get agency experience, but I did find work experience. So I didn't work with another agency, and I feel like I wish I had done because that learning curve of like best practices and things like that, I wish I'd just known a bit more about that. But I did find experience. So as I've probably mentioned throughout the course, I created a website for someone. I practiced on it. As I mentioned, I did it for really cheap. I got them to make sure they left a review. And like I say, what I got in terms of payment for what I did, it was like I say, it was about £1 an hour in the end, because I did so much work on it. But it gave me experience. And it was a win-win situation. I was getting experience and a testimonial, and that person was getting a cheap website of someone he knew that had experience but didn't have his own fancy agency and all that kind of stuff. So I made sure I got that experience first. I volunteered for charities. So one of the things I did to get experience was working for charities. I literally walked around my local shopping area and saw a charity shop and said, "Can I create a Facebook page for her?" Of course, different times and different methods at that time. I'm talking like the early 2010s, so 11, 2012, 13, 14, 15, where people were not familiar with social media. So I'd say I'd do it, but they need to see you face to face so they feel like they can trust you. Don't drop emails to websites and stuff because I don't think that's going to do you. But then you're just another application. So yeah, do voluntary work. And one of the examples that springs to mind is the first time I did training. I was back, I think it was in 2014, 15, and I was always wanted to be a trainer, always wanted to teach about digital marketing. I just find it very exciting, very passionate, and want to share my knowledge. And shit, I'll speak to anyone who cares to listen to me about digital marketing. But basically, I turned up to this location and I promised to do training. I remember the day. It was raining. It was awful parking. I just parked anywhere and I'd agreed to do some training. I turned up and they were like, "Oh yeah, the room we went into, the chairs were still on the tables. It was dusty. I think they'd forgot I was coming, and I was just shocked when I did arrive. They had to find the people in the back. They were working on something else. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to give away who it was. But yeah, so and then I thought to myself, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" But I made sure we got a photo done. I made sure they gave me a testimonial. And this was obviously agreed in advance. And I was doing it for free anyway. And to top it all off, went outside. There was a ticket on my car. When I went to get the ticket off my car, I dropped my laptop in a puddle. honestly, it was the worst, one of the worst days ever of work. Not only did I get a ticket, I ended up paying £60 for it, was at the time it took me to pay it. Um, but it was an experience I got. I got a testimonial and I got a picture. And they actually loved the training. They were happy with it. I mean, like I say, they wanted the training and everything was signed up. They wanted me to do it, but because of just everything on the day, it was just one of those things. But that's how it went. And that's obviously the charity example. And I said that the first website I built was for that pharmacist. And the hobby I mentioned, the hobby I had, I created my own business and created Facebook pages for it. Well, Facebook page, Twitter, all these kinds of things. All those examples I've given you there, charities walking into local shops, the pharmacy, the website I told you about, which I got paid less than £1 an hour for. I mean, they paid me respectfully. I just underestimated it, but that was part of my experience. The organization I set up on my own, which was like a hobby, but I did my own logo, created the names, did the social media posts, and in them days it was a lot easier to get organic traffic. So it looked good and had engagement, had loads of followers or and people liking the posts. And then obviously the training example, which I told you about, where the laptop ended up in the puddle at the end of the day. So you can see 4 examples of how I did it. Yes, I know times are different and it's not 2012 or whatever it might have been in them days. But what I'm saying is that's how I got my experience. So they were then testimonials, and it gave me the confidence to think, I know what I'm doing, I know how to go about this. And that is so, so important. And obviously, the Caslogy Digital Marketing Real course. So obviously, this course is basically the on-demand version of that course, and that is a live course. And in as part of that course, you do get real life experiences where you get to use the adverts and things like that. But I'll talk to you a little bit more about that later on. The point I'm trying to make is that I understand how important experience is, and that's why I keep going on about it because it's so important. Knowledge is brilliant, but if you've got the experience, it makes it so easy to get jobs, both clients and actual work. So that's really, really important. Just following on from what I've just mentioned there in terms of the experience and mentorship. So on my $10,000 or £8,490 course, which is, as I mentioned, the live version of this real digital marketing course, that this content is taken from, we provide real work experience by completing this course. You get the option to apply for work experience. So basically, by completing this course, at least I know you've got the knowledge. And then what we do is we give you 12 weeks hands-on experience and mentorship. So obviously, if you're looking for that experience, and to be honest, ideally, if you can do what I've done, I'd probably say that's the easiest route. Well, not no, that's wrong. Not the easiest route, but probably the route I don't know, recommend, but that's one where basically doesn't cost you anything to do it this way. So if you do this, where as I mentioned, without repeating them again, those 4 examples of work that I did where I got paid either very little or nothing at all, but it set the foundations or set me up for having my own agency. And most of all, it gave me the experience that I needed to talk about. So when you say you've got the knowledge, what experience do you have? I have no experience. And it's almost like being back at school again, isn't it? When you leave school and you're looking for a job, and you've got the education. Oh, you've got the education, but you've got no experience, and you're in that situation again where you've got the knowledge, but you don't have the experience. So if you can get any of those examples I mentioned to you, and maybe look at things in your local area, as I mentioned, avoid friends and family because it's just set up to be awkward. Only because I know when you're doing jobs in the early days, you're going to make mistakes and I'd rather make mistakes with someone I'm doing it for free or I'm doing it for very little. So at least everyone's aware. So if someone's getting a free training course and I make a mistake, at least they know that's possible. Or if I'm doing a website for very cheap, then they're like, well, I didn't pay much for it. And once again, the fact I've asked for a testimonial, he knew I was new into the market. So like I said before, it's a win-win. But just coming back to this, if you do require like a more structured experience and mentorship, as mentioned on the Real Digital Marketing course, that's what we offer. So if you wanted to do that option, yeah, I do have it open to people who have done this course. So you'll get mentorship and guidance directly from me. You'll be working on real businesses with real ad accounts, with real money to spend. It includes the cost of the ads. You work in the digital marketing area of your choice, subject to application. So if lots of people are applying for a certain area, I can't promise to let everyone have it. You see, because basically we only have a certain amount of spaces. So yeah, so if you're interested in a certain area of digital marketing, that's the experience you'll gain, or that's the area of experience we'll provide you. You receive a reference upon work experience completion. So once you've finished it, so when you, even though you're doing this 12 weeks hands-on experience, you will get a signed reference to say that you've done this work experience. So you can add it to your LinkedIn, you can add it to your CV. There is a link where you can apply for this. So you'll see that in the details, or there is where you can apply for this either through contacting us through email, but of course, the details are available. The cost of this is either £1,995 or $2,495. This is because obviously it is that experience and mentorship. So we are helping you through it. This isn't a case of, oh, just get on with it. This is the case of us assisting you, me helping you, telling you why we're doing stuff. So, okay, do this. Okay, what was wrong with that? How can we improve it? So basically, because I know you've done this course, I'll then be able to show you or make references to things because I know you've done the course. So what I'm talking about, you'll understand. But that's what it's like. I say it's hands-on experience, but it's mentorship and guidance as well. So we'll be talking you through it, helping you out to improve things. It will be a really good experience for you. That's just a bit of information about that. So if you want to do that route, you are more than welcome to attend, but there's no obligation, as I mentioned. But whatever you do, you need the experience because otherwise you're just going to be somebody else who's done a course. And yes, what you've learned on this course, I believe, is, as mentioned, it's fantastic. It's heavily researched. I've picked these 20 modules for a reason. Everything is done with purpose and reason, so it is there to help you, and it will help you. But as I mentioned, you need that experience as well.